About 9 years ago, we were called to a body dumped in the stairway of a public housing building. We arrived, and a nice young guy gives a hand at the moment, and we secure the scene. The deceased body has multiple mutilations around the body. Slashes, stabs and burns. Even a bit of waffling burn marks in a grid pattern. His clothes are bloodless. Later the medical examiner arrives, the body is completely drained. The corpse is fresh as no signs of decomposition have set in. The detectives arrive and the investigation begins. We remove the body and resume our duties. Around a month later an arrest is made. Remember that nice kid from the beginning of the story that helped us a little? Turns out he was a friend of the victim. He and a girl had been drinking with the victim, aka the dead person. An argument started between them, so they beat the victim unconscious, tethered him to a chair and proceed to torture him for 2 days. After he died, they drained him in the tub, changed his clothes, opened the apartment door and threw him down the stairs. In case you were wondering, there were 911 calls for the period of time he was being tortured. Those apartments are very close together. I would imagine 2 days of torture would make a bit of noise. In the end, it's a tragic incident, and at least those 2 horrible people are behind bars for a long time. My girlfriend's grandfather used to be a detective, and he tells a pretty terrifying story. When he was still pretty young, he got a call to an apartment building because a monster was trying to get into someone's apartment. The caller said that they had heard a gunshot, and then a while later something was pounding on their door. When they opened it, a monster was standing there and tried to get into their apartment. They kicked it out and slammed the door. The caller also said that they had heard more screams from down the hall, so the monster may have been trying to get to other people. When my girlfriend's grandfather got to the building, he found a man shambling around inside, covered in blood. He got the guy to turn around and realized that he had found this so-called monster. The guy had attempted to commit suicide by putting a gun under his chin and firing upwards. However, he had screwed the angle up and blown off his jaw and part of his nose, but he was still alive and in extreme shock. He had been walking around the building knocking on doors, trying to get someone to help him, but his grisly visage had terrified everyone, so they kept slamming the door in his face. In the end, the guy passed away due to bad injuries and loss of blood. What a very sad event that was. Rest in peace. I've had a few creepy moments in my career, but one that has always stood out to me was a call I had when I worked midnight shift. It was around 2 a.m. in the dead of winter. Bone cold at night and got a call from dispatch that they had an open 911 call and could hear a woman moaning, "Help me," and then silence. My partner and I arrived at the apartment to find the door slightly cracked open and had a blood smear on it. The apartment was black inside and strangely quiet. We made entry. It was like something out of a horror movie. The first thing we both noticed was a large arterial spray on the wall that then smeared down to a hallway and disappeared toward the back of the apartment. As we made our way down the hall, blood was smeared down the wall to the bedroom. Blood covered the door handle. We opened the door and saw a lifeless body on a bed, covered in blood, the bed and body. Unbelievably creepy. It was dead silent still in the apartment. We checked the body and found a faint pulse, the woman was still alive. Turned out she was blind and had other health problems. She had a shunt in her arm, which she has managed to pull out by mistake. We later found out, and she started bleeding out everywhere. For those curious, she lived, though that was 8 years ago. I still remember the creepy, quiet, and staleness of the apartment in the bitter cold. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more videos like this. Your support means everything to me.